95.7 The Game breaking news.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Trey Lance has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys. In exchange, the 49ers will receive a mid-round pick. This is per Adam Schefter. The Trey Lance time with the San Francisco 49ers is over. Details still coming in, but there it is. Trey Lance will not play for the 49ers tonight because Trey Lance is now a member of the rival Dallas Cowboys.
There it is. I'm seeing it, from Adam Schefter. Their number 3 former overall pick to the Cowboys for a mid-round selection. A mid-round, which tells me 7 rounds, that would be the 4th round is the mid-round.
4 or 5.
I'm thinking a 5.
It's a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, I mean that, and no other player named in this trade as of now.
Not yet.
So the early report is out. Niners have traded Trey Lance to Dallas for a mid-round pick. So there you have it, Mark. We talked about deadlines, and I think you and I agreed that Saturday would be about right.
I said it would happen by Saturday.
And then it happens today when he's set to take the field in 2 hours and 38 minutes. And we actually joked earlier in the show about him getting pulled off the field like in the second quarter in his second series. Well, that's now not going to happen. Trey Lance will not be in Santa Clara tonight. Trey Lance will be a Dallas Cowboy.
There's so much reaction to be had, and we're going to have it all. But the first thing I want to say to all of you is we are here for you right now. Let's go. Let's talk it out. 888-957-9570. Your reaction to the 49ers sending Trey Lance to the Dallas Cowboys for a mid-round pick. I have no doubt that as we are still here for another hour and a half plus, more information and details will come in, exactly what the pick is. And whatnot. So we'll have all that for you. But there it is. And I'm not surprised one bit. This is what we've been talking about all day. The 49ers can sit there. And my whole message all year, stop listening to their words and watch their actions. You got to stop listening to their, well, they say they want to keep him. And they say he's playing tonight. And they say they're in love with him still. And they say that they do. Watch what they do. They sign Jimmy and they sign Sam and they elevate Brock while he's having surgery. This shows you where this is. And by the way, I do think that a piece of this is for Trey. I do think the 49ers operate that way. It's not just them saying we're done with you and we want you gone. It's them saying, we don't have what you need. We don't have a spot for you, and we do like you, and we would like for you to have an opportunity elsewhere. I think the fact that it's the Cowboys is an interesting spot. Yeah, Grandy, what do we got?
Really quick, Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, reports the Niners are getting a 4th-round pick back for Trey Lance.
Okay, there it is. A 4th-round pick for Trey Lance, and there is one.
I mean, that's a pretty good return based on where we are.
It's wild considering that they tried to call back at draft time and weren't offered a 5. So, yeah, you can't look at this and, this is ultimate lipstick on a pig. This isn't great. This is obviously a horrific return on investment if you want to look at it that way. However, if you want to start the spotlight of March of this year, the way the 49ers played this, by putting him out on the field, having him succeed at least in the final 2 drives last weekend, and furthermore, creating the public story that it was this week by saying, we have a situation, we love this guy, but he needs time, and we would like to find him a new address. It worked. It worked in the form of probably moving them up 2 rounds in terms of what was being offered earlier.
Well, they got something back for Trey Lance, and if Trey Lance was going to be QB3 at best, and I think you made a good point in the last segment about Brandon Allen, if it's a toss-up between who you like more, well, Brandon Allen's on a 1-year deal. Your commitment to him is far less, and so now you trade Trey Lance to Dallas, and you get something back, and you look at the Dallas Cowboys quarterback depth chart. It's Dak Prescott, and we know that he's had some injury issues over the years. And it's Cooper Rush, who's the number 2. And he, I thought, was a guy who was thought about in some favor in Dallas. But even if Trey Lance has to enter Dallas as QB3. Will Greer is their third-string quarterback. So you would feel like Trey Lance would have a great chance to be the 3. Maybe he's QB2. And with Dak Prescott being a guy who has some injury history, Trey Lance is in a better spot right now than he was 20 minutes ago.
It is a surprising destination.
Yeah.
We don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the Dallas Cowboy perspective. It's just funny. A crossover yesterday with Goo, he brought up Cooper Rush as who he thought was the best backup in football. So I don't agree with him, but the fact that Trey Lance is going there where there is already a pecking order and a depth chart, it makes you wonder what their plan is for him. But that is obviously for another day.
Cowboys, by the way, tomorrow hosting the Raiders.
Oh, perfect.
So maybe Jerry's
give him another shot.
You know what? I liked what he did against the Raiders.
Trey's like, I know that defense.
Totally.
Come on, give me the ball. Listen.
I can't imagine he gets any snaps tomorrow for Dallas in a quick turnaround, but you never know, right?
Probably not, but I don't know. I mean, if you're just joining us, the trade has happened. The Trey Lance era with the 49ers is over. The 49ers have sent Trey Lance to the Dallas Cowboys, and in exchange, they will receive a 4th-round pick. Let's hear from you. 888-957-9570 is the number. Bobby in Los Altos, first up here on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Bobby, thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I was on hold. Honestly, I kind of wish my call was taken before that breaking news. Some of my points might be a little bit moot, but I just want to say a couple of things. I've been listening the last 2 weeks, haven't called in. All this talk about Trey, and I just want to talk about him as an individual. So I really don't understand why people want to make him QB1. It's like they act like he got some bum deal, like he didn't get a chance to show his potential. I really just want to say this about Trey Lance as an individual. I don't know how much of that $33 million he's collected thus far, but I think it's over $20 million. So if the guy never plays another down in his life, he can still make a great impact in this world with the financial resources he has amassed. So honestly, I don't feel bad for Trey Lance at all. But this point now is probably a little bit moot, but this whole let Trey cook crowd, I think you guys know that I'm not a troll. I don't try to incite, but I wonder how much of this anger about Trey Lance not being QB1 is based upon the fact that he's a black quarterback, a physical specimen with unlimited potential, and he was beaten out by this cherubic, unathletic white quarterback. To me, the NFL seems to be a meritocracy, case in point, like a Josh Gordon. You get chances if you can perform on the field. But I just feel like people have this sort of quick reaction to this idea of this white quarterback beating out this black quarterback who has all his potential. And I just don't really think that's a valid point.
Bobby,
real quick, it's 27.85. The Niners paid him, and Dallas gets him for 6.25, fully guaranteed for the next 2 years.
Yeah, and first off, I know that a lot of people, when someone makes a lot of money, they immediately, and I don't think Bobby was necessarily saying this, but I don't feel sorry for him, he's made a lot of money. Well, that doesn't do it for me, okay? Just because somebody has a whole lot of money, I mean, how many examples just within the last handful of years in this nation have we seen people who are rich, famous, look like they have the best lives in the world, and they've taken their own lives. So that does not make somebody's life perfect just because he has money. I do have sympathy for the journey that has been Trey Lance. As far as the race part of it, here's what I'll say. No, nothing is actually a true full meritocracy, and let's not act like racism doesn't exist. I don't think that was the case here from the 49ers standpoint, but you and I, Dibs, are also not the ones to necessarily speak too long on this.
Yeah.
I'll just say I understand if people were excited about the idea of the 49ers having a black quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. I understand if people were excited about that idea, especially in this city. This is San Francisco, California. That was potentially imagine you talk about impact. Imagine the impact you can have. The last black quarterback who was here, I would argue, had a massive impact on the world.
On the world, yeah.
He didn't end up doing it as the quarterback, but if that was exciting to you, I get it. I get it. Now, Brock Purdy, his race, and how he got here, to me, is completely irrelevant in this conversation.
And I don't think that race played any part in Trey Lance's ouster. I think that Trey Lance was here. He had a chance. He didn't have a chance. He got hurt. He got healthy. He got beat out. You came in this year, and you got to a point where the team thought that he was their third best quarterback, and the quarterback who was maybe tied with him at third is much cheaper, and Trey Lance had more of a market, and so Trey Lance got traded to the Cowboys today, and this just broke 15 minutes ago, and the reaction is pouring in, and my first reaction is twofold. One, good job, Niners, for getting a fourth-round pick, because it didn't feel like there was even that much
did not.
of
You're
a
right.
market out there. And the second piece is what you've been talking about all show about what Trey wants. Trey wants to be elsewhere. Trey wants a chance to go be a quarterback somewhere, and he lands in a spot where Dak Prescott will be a good mentor, and he's in a situation where the Dallas Cowboys, they're a winning team. So it's not like he goes to a team that's going to be struggling. He gets a chance to go be with Cooper Rush as QB2 or QB3, depending on how that shakes out, but he goes to a winning organization.
Looking at Dak Prescott's current contract, it is the guarantees are up after next year.
Okay.
This year and
So 2 more years. Okay.
yeah, 2023, 2024.
And that's when Trey Lance's guarantees are up as well.
Could pick up a 5th-year option on it if you
Right.
if you like what you see in the year that you have him. Yeah, look, my other reaction is this. It's what I've been preaching all afternoon long. Trey Lance needed to be somewhere else. That's better for him. And for the 49ers, please stop dismissing the idea of them wanting this narrative gone. It's their fault. It's no one else's fault. They're the ones who built this and did this. But this idea that the 49ers are just cool with all of us screaming and yelling about Trey Lance for the next 2 years while Brock Purdy grows and tries to win a Super Bowl himself, no, they weren't. No, they weren't. And that's how we got here today. So let's hear from you. Diego in Marin is next up on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Diego, what's going on?
Hey, I was just calling and ask you guys if you think the fans would be more mad if they traded Bosa, hypothetically, if they had gotten Micah Parsons at the same draft pick that they were at when he got drafted, instead of picking Lance, and they still got Purdy in this scenario. Would the fans be more mad? Sorry about the dogs.
Yeah, Diego,
Hey, who let the dogs out?
Nothing
Diego?
wrong with having a dog.
No, he has multiple dogs.
Would the fans be more mad if they had just stayed put, gotten Micah Parsons, and then had him and Bosa and Brock Purdy?
I thought he mentioned something about trading Bosa in there. Would they be more mad if they traded Bosa?
I thought he was talking
and
about
had
Trey
Micah Parsons?
Lance.
Distracted by the
Well, not only distracted,
dogs.
but it's just not a realistic scenario because remember, Jimmy Garoppolo was headed into the final year of his deal. They drafted Trey to be his replacement.
Right.
If they had never drafted a quarterback, Jimmy would have gone into the last year of his deal, and if they didn't keep him, they would have done something much more aggressive at quarterback
Than
than
just
draft
waiting for Brock
Mr.
Purdy,
Irrelevant
totally.
in the 7th round.
It's big time revisionist history,
Yeah.
but it's hard to not look back now at what you gave up and what you got back in return. You gave up 3 firsts to move up to get Trey Lance. He played 4 games. You missed out on Micah Parsons, and now you get a 4th-round pick back for a guy that you gave up on after 2 years. You can't help but be a little bit bitter as a Niner fan over the way that all worked out in terms of you spent $100,000 on a Lamborghini, and then you crashed it a couple times, and then you traded it and you sold it for about $87.
The cap space information is this. We had it pretty spot on when we talked about it earlier. The 49ers have opened up $940,000 in cap space this year and $5.3 million in cap space in 2024. The Dallas Cowboys will inherit the remainder of Trey Lance's fully guaranteed rookie contract, which runs through the remainder of this year and next year before they'll have an option on a 5th year. Maestro in Santa Rosa is next up on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Maestro, what's cooking?
Willard and Dibs, hello to you.
Hello.
What up, Meist?
I am calling today. I was thinking about this whole Trey Lance situation, and the breaking news came on while I was on hold. I wanted to say that Trey Lance was brought to the 49ers simply so that Jimmy Garoppolo could get out. I don't think that it was an accident that as soon as Trey was drafted, it became the Trey area, and it was a big hype around Trey. Nobody had enough film to say, oh, this guy's really good, he's going to be our new guy. Kyle Shanahan simply wanted Garoppolo out. That's all he wanted.
Well, Maestro, could we say it a different way? He wanted Jimmy out. Like, this is now pretty well documented. What they thought they needed over the next few years with the contracts that were coming up, what they needed was a quarterback on a rookie deal. You get what I'm saying there? They like, because if you're still paying Jimmy, there's no McCaffrey, and like Warner or Kittle might be gone. You know what I mean?
Correct. So that opened up the cap space to keep the Bosa, to keep all the other superstars on the team.
Yes, and then they lucked into Brock Purdy and developed him as well, and ended up with a quarterback even cheaper than Trey by a long shot, actually.
Yeah.
Maestro, thanks.
He said that as much earlier in the week in terms of, what they were trying to do as a goal was to get a quarterback on a rookie deal, and they thought it would be Trey Lance, and his rookie deal balloons, but it doesn't balloon to where he's making Kirk Cousins money or Deshaun Watson money or Lamar Jackson money or
any money.
Herbert and all the rest of these mega monster deals. But you're right. The fact that they landed on Mr. Irrelevant and they're paying a guy $900,000 and then it finally escalates to like $1 million and change next year, that gives them a huge advantage if that quarterback is any good. And Brock Purdy, it turns out he's pretty good.
Pretty good. And the rest of the roster looks like it does because of that.
Right.
Like, they have a lot of obviously highly talented and highly paid players on this roster. All right. The 49ers have traded Trey Lance to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for a 4th-round pick in the 2024 draft. That news just breaking a handful of moments ago. Obviously, Trey Lance will not play in the game tonight for the 49ers, and we're talking about it and taking your calls right here on Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game. Let's go to Gene in Oakland next up on this situation. Hi, Gene. What are you doing?
Hey, I'm just pulling into my driveway. I heard the news. I'm really relieved, man. I 1 down, 2 and 1 to go, Now I get that Bosa contract settled, and we can just focus on the season and get away from all this drama.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gene. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say is what you've reported, I think, confirms my suspicions. I mean, I felt like I was wondering why he wasn't drawing any interest, and I thought it had to have been the $9 or $10 million they're paying him this year. So it sounds to me, from what you said, that they're picking up about $6 or $7 million of that. Is that right?
Dallas picks up everything that needs to be paid going forward. But remember, when you talk about what someone is paid in terms of their contract, it's not paid just like simply out. Like, some of it is tied up in you get a bonus at this point in the calendar, and then there's a bonus paid in that point and whatnot. So Dallas picks up everything that is remaining for the rest of this year and then next year as well.
Oh, then wow, that's great. I mean, and we get a 4th rounder. I mean, that's the Niners' sweet spot, right? The 3rd and 4th round.
Totally.
Don't do terribly well in the first 2. So, no, I'm very happy. I feel a little like Steve Young, when he lifted that mythical monkey from his back after he won the Super Bowl.
Why do you feel this way, Gene? You feel so relieved. Why are you relieved?
Because I was getting so tired of the talk, especially a lot of the talk about frankly, the racial implications, saying that, whatever, it just, I want to talk about other aspects of the team, which I consider a far more important. The slot corner issue, the lack of depth in the O-line, is Darnold going to have it? Is Darnold going to finally be the real thing if he gets a chance to play? Things like that. I want to talk about to me, what I consider much more important issues than
I love it,
you
Gene.
know, whether he's a second or third string quarterback.
He's a man of nuance. Gene in Oakland, thank you for the phone call.
I will say this. If anybody thinks that today is the last day that Trey Lance is going to come up as a topic here, I got news for you.
No, but it definitely diminishes. And, James Wiseman talk this NBA season won't be as hot, and Jordan Poole, it'll slowly diminish.
Of course it will, but, okay.
Trey Lance is going to be their QB3. So how much are we going to talk about Trey Lance in a week and a half?
Because your contention and many others is that the 49ers will absolutely unequivocally need multiple quarterbacks this year.
Brandon Allen.
The second that Sam Darnold hits the field, if it's not good, here comes the Trey Lance talk.
Of course. But it's not going to be like it's been, which is...
No, it's not going to be
every... It's led the show
for
crying out loud for weeks.
No, absolutely.